Hello and welcome to the Surfing Podcast. My name is Dan Bilek. I'm your host on this audio extravaganza of surf conversation, lore, and mythology. I don't know if any of those things are true, but I have some great news right at the top of the show. This week and the next couple of weeks, we're giving away 3 free pairs of SurfEars surfing earplugs. They're these specially designed earplugs for surfing that keep the water out of your ears and keep you from getting surf ear and all that kind of bad stuff. But they also are designed to where you can actually they have a membrane that keeps water in but lets sound pass through, so you can hear with them on, which is pretty cool. Because if you wear earplugs, you know that you can't really hear too much stuff, which sometimes that's a blessing, because then you put earplugs in, you're just snaking everybody and being a big, big dick, like not even paying attention in the water. And everyone hates you, but you're getting more waves. Or but then maybe a friend paddles out and you're done being a dickhead, or you got all the waves you wanted and you want to chit chat with your friend, but you can't because you got those Max Pro plugs stuffed in your ears and you can't hear anything. And then you take them out and then you tuck them in the neck of your wetsuit, and then you forget about them, or they fall down in your wetsuit and then you pee on them, or maybe they fall out when you're changing your car and you forget about them, or you drive over them. The regular earplugs are a hassle. These SurfEars earplugs are amazing, and they're also expensive. They retail online, and it's better surf shops all over the world for $50 to $90 US. That's right. They're pricey, but they're fancy, and they the company was nice enough to give us 3 pairs to give away. They actually gave us 4 pairs, one that I test drove, and they actually really do work, and they're pretty comfortable and they're pretty awesome. And so you probably want to win some. Here's how you win some. You have to do 2 things. Okay, here's the 2 things. Go to our website, surfingpodcast.com, thesurfingpodcast.com, and click on the Facebook icon at the top of the page and like our Facebook page. That's one. And then while on the website, thesurfingpodcast.com, click on the, or not click on, I guess, use the join our email list. There's at the top of our website, there's a little box to join our email list. You just put your email address in and send, and then it sends you a thing to confirm, and then you click on the confirm the confirmation email. And on the post pages on the sidebar. Anyway, it's on our website. You've used the computer before. You've used the internet. You've used email. You're on at least one mailing list. So you just join one more. We don't send out a bunch of spam or weird stuff or like pyramid scheme stuff, or just, updates about our show and free stuff and or discounts you could get on awesome items like the SurfEars earplugs. And these are the SurfEars 2.0. These are the newer version. Not that the 1.0s weren't nice, but these are like, if those were the Cadillac, these were like the Cadillac Escalade Monster Truck Platinum Edition, if it was 2007 and those cars were popular again. Anyway, go to thesurfingpodcast.com, like our Facebook page, subscribe to our email list, and you can win. We're going to announce the 3 winners on Monday, June 5th. So I'll probably announce it. We'll announce it this episode, at the end of this episode, of course, and probably next episode as well. And then we'll pick the 3 people at random and name you guys. But we're going to announce the winners on June 5th on our Facebook page, the Surfing Podcast Facebook page. And then we're going to contact you via email through the email list. If, actually, we're probably going to announce it on the Facebook page. Then you have to see it and then maybe email us from the email address you signed up for. But whatever, we're not going to make it too hard. Just please like our Facebook page and sign up for the our email list. And we will, if you win, we will hunt you down via Facebook or the email list email address you provided, and you will get your earplugs. Okay, so just sign up. It's not too hard. It's a fun thing to do. And while you're doing that and you're dicking around on our website, why don't you go and click on the iTunes logo and subscribe to us on iTunes or the Google Play Store if you get down like that, or Stitcher.com. Okay, those are the 3 ways so you can get updates to our show. And with all that business out of the way, let's get into the first topic before we go to our interview. We actually have an interview with Christian Dittrich, the inventor and the founder of the company SurfEars that we recorded. But before that, I want to get in the topic of the week. This show takes place in this room that I'm recording in, but this room is in Southern California. It's in Orange County. We record the show in Huntington Beach, California. And as you know, if you've been reading the social media or the news or the television news here, or watching television news here in Southern California, there have been a lot of sharks. The month of May right now, May 2017, and there have been a lot of shark sightings and sharks swimming around Orange County, Long Beach, probably up in LA, but definitely Orange County, Long Beach. There was a terrible shark attack the first week, the beginning of May, on a lady swimming with her boyfriend at San Onofre. And then a few days, like 4 or 5 days later, there was a girl who claimed that she was attacked by a shark while surfing Sunset Boulevard up in LA. But then the pictures came out and it's clearly a fin. It's got to be a fin gouge, because no shark has a 90-degree right angle mouth that doesn't tear a bunch of shit open and makes that clean of a cut. But regardless, the young lady that got hurt, I feel for her. And any injury surfing is a serious injury, especially one that needs multiple stitches. So may all the gods, the old and the new, bless her, and may she heal soon. But a bigger shout out to the not shout out, because that's not the most appropriate way to put it, but more good thoughts and energy and whatever you believe in towards the lady who was attacked by the shark at San Onofre, because the bite was very serious, and she's a mother, and that's gnarly. So there's a GoFundMe page for her. I will put the link to that in the show notes for this episode, for the San Onofre of actual shark attack victim, not for the chick in LA that got hit with her fin. That sucks, but I don't really care. She's trying to make an Instagram career out of it, and I've had an asshole of seeing that online, and that can go fuck itself. Sorry. Oh, there's cussing on this show. So if you're like, oh, this is probably like a Christian show, it's not like it's not a satanic show, but it's not like we're like G-rated. When you surf, I guarantee you paddle for a wave, you miss it, you say fuck. If not out loud, maybe under your breath, definitely to yourself. Same kind of deal goes here. I just talk about surfing. I love it. I'm passionate about it. I get excited. So when I get excited, I cuss. My apologies. But if you can't take that, I mean, come on, be a grown up. Unless you're a kid. If you're a kid and you're listening to this, turn this off and go read the Bible. Maybe do some sit-ups and eat your vegetables, take your vitamins, get your shit together. Don't wait listening to some old idiot talk about surfing on the computer or your iPhone or whatever you're using. Sharks. The topic this week to open the show was, besides the amazing giveaway, was sharks. And here's the deal. With all the sharks swimming around, there was a shark attack. There was the fake shark attack thing. And then... on May 10th or 11th, one random Wednesday in May, there were like 27 sharks spotted by helicopters in Long Beach, in Orange County, and off of Capistrano Beach, and San Clemente. And everyone is freaking out. The TV news is freaking out. There's a million clips on social media. There were a bajillion articles written on surfing websites and non-surfing websites, and just anyone that had a story about being chased out of the water by a shark, or seeing a shark, or many sharks, and just shark. And you know what? It seems like, yes, I've seen the videos. There are a lot of sharks, and I talked to old timey guys. There's been helicopters and other, maybe not drones, but there's been aerial surveillance of the water for the last 20 or 30 years, and I don't believe there's been this many sharks that have been spotted, because some people are like, well, there's just more drones and GoPros. It just seems like there's a lot of sharks, and then there's different theories on what the sharks is. It the El Nino what's bringing them in? Was it the seal? Is it seal populations? Is it the warm water that we've had for the past couple of years? Is it some other global warming? But you know who wins this argument? The guy or girl or person or scientist or whoever. Somebody wrote an article basically saying that the seal populations have exploded because the seals are protected and the sharks are protected, and there's too many seals and they're making the shark population explode. And I didn't read this article, and I didn't even Google this article, and I don't care about this article or story or whoever wrote it. All I know is that every person that I know that surfs, that I've talked to in the ocean about the shark, not willingly, by the way. If I paddle out and someone mentions sharks or the shark or whatever to me, I immediately just look at them and I go, oh, well, I don't think they eat retarded people, so you're fine. And then I check a little box off in my head that says, I will take off on that person no matter what. Even though I'm probably older and fatter and much shittier of a surfer than them, they are a dum-dum. I can't, they ruin, I don't want to, when I'm out in the ocean where there are the sharks, lurking around, I don't think about, you think about it a little bit. I don't want to think about it. Don't bring it up. You know what I mean? It's like, you're wrecking the thing I'm doing. I'm trying to paddle out in the ocean to go surf, to get away from all my wife's friends and our fucking neighbors and everybody else that doesn't surf, that keeps asking me about the fucking shark. Oh, there's a shark. You see the shark? There's a shark. I'm like, I don't swim up and pet them. I'm not like grabbing onto their fin like fucking Flipper, getting towed into like, mushy, set waves in the north side of the Huntington Pier. I'm just trying to do a recreational activity in the ocean that I enjoy with sometimes my friends, more often than not strangers who I don't really enjoy as much, but I don't want to hear about the goddamn shark. So when people bring up the shark, I just think they're a kook, and I want to snake them. But going back to my original point, whoever wrote the article about the seal explosion, whatever, won the internet, because they must have got the article read the most, or skimmed, or at least the headline read the most, because every fucking dude that I talk to about the shark that they bring up the shark, like, oh, the shark's man, within the first 30 seconds, within the first 17 seconds, they go, yeah, man, seal population exploded, bro. Just people. They care more about animals than they do people now, bro. They just, they take pictures of their dog, and they just care about the animals, but not people, man. You know what we got to do? got to cut down that seal population. It's not a popular thing to say, bro. It's not, I'm not saying we're going to kill the seals outright, but we got to do something, man. It's like just, it's like natural, law of the nature, bro. It's just like, things are just, the balance is out of like, alignment, bro. I'm not saying I'm going to kill the seals, but we got to do something, man. The seals, I've had that conversation probably, it's Monday when I'm recording this. This thing's going up on Tuesday. Over the weekend, and counting Friday, surfing Friday afternoon as the weekend, I must have had that conversation with 3 different dudes, like a 20-year-old dude, a 30-year-old dude, a 50-year-old dude, and then another 30-year-old. So 4 times. The same conversation. Sometimes dudes bring up the shark. I don't really call him a retard. I was joking about that. I think in my head, though. I absolutely do think that in my head. But the shark. Oh, yeah, it's interesting. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of them, blah, blah, blah. Just making small talk because there's fucking, where I live, the waves are shitty. And it's been windy and bumpy and lully and just garbage for the past month anyway. So it really gives a shit if there's sharks or not. Doesn't the fact that it's less crowded doesn't, oh, good, I can get more mushy, bumpy, closed out, crumbly, shitty waves, on both sides of the pier. What a dream to come true. For me. Anyway, but I've had the guys that are, yeah, man, the sharks, man, it's just fucking these fucking snowflakes, bro. They just don't even get it, bro. We got to get rid of it. And it's funny because I guess I would like the ballsier thing of saying like, let's kill the fucking sharks. Let's get some fucking boats and some spears and some dynamites and some fucking, some nitrous oxide infused jet skis. And let's ride up on these motherfuckers like Mad Max fucking Thunderdome / meets Waterworld and dispense some fucking, some justice on these fucking eating machines. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I think. It's like if but we're gonna kill some seals, but I don't want to be like responsible for killing them because like there's bad people think that's bad. Like fuck you, man. And then the other side of that coin is just as annoying, or argument is just as annoying. But I side with that more, and that's like the hippie, new agey, positive vibe energy assholes are like, hey man, like. Both of my impressions are like the same guy. One's like just like, hey man, I'm a little more butch, but then they're like, hey man, it's just animals, man. You're in their territory, bro. You're in the ocean, man. You're stepping into their, it's like they don't come into your house and start anything. So if you're going to the ocean, man, you're part of the food chain, bro. They're apex predators. By the way, both these guys, like I said, the impression's similar because both of them are just equally annoying. But I do agree with the shark guy, and I don't want to with the pro shark. Like you are in the ocean, fucking around in the ocean. No one's saying I have to go fucking womp around on a goddamn, on a glorified boogie board and trying to do a cutback. For what? I'm not doing it for points or money or a giant trophy or some shit or an oversized check. Or to get a high five from, somebody speaking Portuguese. I don't have that. I just do it because I like it. So technically, yeah, if you're fucking around in the ocean and a shark bites you, it is kind of your fault. That's not a nice way to put it. And I don't want to be the guy that's like, yeah, man, fucking sharks could bite you. And then I jinx myself and then I get eaten by a fucking shark and then people are like, yeah, that guy had it coming. He's a real fucking dickhead about it. So I know that I'm pissing off probably both sides of the argument, the call the sharks and or seals and the save the sharks and or seals. But I'm just saying it's annoying. I'm just saying the sharks are annoying, but I love surfing. And like I said, I know I love surfing because I live somewhere with really shitty waves. I surf Huntington Beach. I would love to go surf better places, but I live here and I have a 3-year-old and, I work a lot and I have a wife that has me, she's not my wife. I love my wife with all my heart, but at the same time, if you're young and you're not married, fuck you, because you're surfing when the waves are glassy, when the tide's good. If you're married and you have a kid, you're surfing when it's windy and it's super high tide or it's super low tide or it's just shitty or the waves aren't good or it's going to be, it's going to be better right before dark and you can't surf because you got to eat dinner with your fucking in-laws and you sit by your fucking super creepy like pro-Trump brother-in-law that gets drunk and starts talking about that crazy shit, and then your sister-in-law you can't fucking stand either. So it's like, I enjoy surfing. I think the mighty shark in all its grandeur and glory and terror is worth the risk. But yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming there'll be some type of thing that will come along. I wish there was a thing like, a couple, was it last year or the year before when that Australian company came out with like that $200 or $200 like anti-shark magnet leash. And then every person that's your friend that had half a brain is like, dude, I could get those magnets at fucking Home Depot for like $8, and you could just put them on a Velcro thing and wear them on your leg if you do the same thing. And then they show you the map of like how the magnets, like the magnet on your one foot doesn't even create a strong enough fucking field to like even protect the other foot if they worked, because magnets are kind of like gravity. It's like as you move farther away from the object, the stuff like the force of the field decreases by like orders of magnitude as you move in distance. So it's not like you have a fucking like 10-foot radius, bubble of magnetic protection. And also, we've all seen the Shark Week, like, the Air Jaws video clips. Like, I don't know if a shark's like swimming like 30 miles an hour underwater, coming to boot you up into the air and eat you, is gonna like at the last second be like, oh fuck, a magnet, and make a turn, and not eat you. So I don't know what the answer is, but I guess my point would be some type of better technology, like some type of like, I don't know, an actual sonic thing that like made sharks not swim near populated beach areas or where there was good waves. But then the argument for that is, well, then you're hurting their ears or fucking up sharks or messing up their patterns. And it's like, yeah, I'd be all for like disrupting sharks like migratory patterns. Yeah, fuck them. They can go swim places where the waves are shitty. I'm all for that. But I'm not for like, let's just murder all the sharks and seals. But like, if you were gonna murder all the sharks and seals, don't be a fucking pussy about it. Then I'm like, okay, dude, like let's paint our face like fucking Maori warrior style and do this shit like they have like, if there's an attack, there's like a 48-hour or 72-hour like open season within like, let's say like a 10-mile radius of where the attack was, and you can go in with fucking shark cages and fucking drum lines and shit, and you can fuck shit up. You're like, we're gonna get the one that got him, but then the window closes or something, or you gotta fight the shark with a knife or one of those bang stick. I don't know. But the point is, I've talked about the shark more than I even care to talk about sharks, but it is getting on my nerves, and I am sick of hearing about it. So fuck you and fuck the shark. But that's just my opinion. Leave your opinion in the comments section on the website or the Facebook page. I'm sure you have an amazing take that I'd love to hear. And then I segue into that and get into our next thing before we get to our interview with Christian from the SurfEars. We have it's been a windy spring anyway in Southern California. I live in Huntington Beach. It's just been bumpy. Like there's been like 1 or 2 glassy days in the last 30 days of a month. It just sucks. So like I said, I've got responsibilities and family and adult responsibilities, so I can't drive somewhere. I can't drive up to El Porto or somewhere where the south wind is actually kind of offshore, or go down to San Diego or somewhere where the waves might be better. I'm stuck here, so I don't even care. Like, go do shark. Yeah, fuck. I'm probably gonna get eaten on a day, in like a 2-foot choppy day, like I surfed yesterday with like 2 guys out, and they both want to sit right next to you because they're scared of the fucking. Get the fuck away from me. Surf by myself, idiot. And then other thing, surf. Contest news. We're about halfway or 2/3 of the way through the Oi Rio Pro. More, I guess 2/3, because they just Tyler Wright just won the women's last night on the pod, or yesterday on the live cast. So that's and then the men are like 4th or 5th round. But big story: John Florence lost earlier this week to Yago Dora, which doesn't mean anything, because here's the problem with there's many problems with the WSL. It's wonderful. I love surfing. I love pro surfing. I hope pro surfing continues to take off and goes in the Olympics, and everyone and more surfers can make a living doing surfing, the ones that really excel at it. But at the same point, it's kind of goofy as a sport, and it's just kind of janky, and the judging's always fucking terrible, and the post-heat interviews are terrible, and the marketing and packaging of it is terrible, but it's a thing we all love, so we watch it anyway in a shitty webcast with way too many people saying things that are explosive and exciting that are not explosive and exciting. And a contest sucks when 2/3 of the Facebook Live videos that are coming up from the WSL from the contest are dudes drawing on their surfboards of the marker while being interviewed by a chick in Portuguese, and Strider Wazalewski ziplining on a surfboard. Then you're like, hey, this is not the best surfers and the best waves. This is just a contest we have to have in a country, because a majority of the up and coming surfers on the tour come from that country, and it's a huge market for people like the surf companies to exploit. And I'm not saying exploit in a bad way. I'm saying exploit as in make money and give jobs to people and do all the bullshit that companies do, I guess. But the big story, besides John losing, Felipe Toledo was banned from the upcoming. He was kicked out of the upcoming contest in Fiji, the next WSL contest in Fiji, for quote unquote storming the judges area after his heat. He had a heat with Kanoe Igarashi, and I guess at the beginning of the heat, no one had priority. Kanoa took off on a left that was clearly a left, and then Felipe, as one of the kids, I think it was Bo Flammaster, whatever. One of the kids, or guys that writes for, I want to say Surfer. I could Google it, but we're recording the show right now, so I'm not going to. One of the guys wrote that Felipe tried to quote unquote big dick Kanoa, which I thought was a very funny way to put it. But yeah, I did. I watched the playback a bunch of times, and Kanoa's taking off on the left, and Felipe tries to like weasel him on the right. Kanoa stands up first and turns and then throws his hands up and then surfs the waves and then throws his hands up. And, Felipe got an interference, but it was only a half a wave interference. Felipe can get fucking, 311s in a goddamn heat. So what did it really matter? And then at the end of the heat, like, even if Felipe didn't have the fucking interference, he still would have lost just on straight points. But apparently he stormed the judges' tower, and that's illegal, because back in the day when guys like, that were bigger dudes like Sonny Garcia and shit, we'd be all hopped up and go up there and you try and actually beat the shit out of somebody. But my thing is, I don't know if Felipe had to get kicked out of a thing and he had to do this apology and all this bullshit and say he's disappointed in himself and he'll make it up with his fans and his sponsors and all that shit. But my point is, Felipe Toledo is like 5 foot, I want to say 5'1", but let's say 5'6", standing on a stack of phone books on Gabriel Medina's shoulders, weighs maybe 114, maybe 140 pounds, probably closer to 114 pounds, holding, 2 40-pound dumbbells. What's he really going to do if he storms the judges area? Knock over a few coffee cups that aren't on too high a tables for him to, reach and or see, like my 3-year-old son. I mean, come on. So they kicked him out of Fiji, which is a bummer. Mainly because it's one more chance he has at dodging a powerful South Pacific left, because that he does not have a great track record in those type of waves. And I'm totally joking, because I think Felipe is one of the best surfers on the planet that's ever been born. And if you watch the Western Oz contest, the WSL Margaret River, I thought he surfed fucking great. And super, like pretty bigger than the average surfer ever surfs, even on this big wave surf trip. Waves that were lumpy as fuck and hard to surf. And he surfed them well, and he surfed well on his little bit, his longer boards. I think his bigger wave surfing is definitely coming along, or at least in waves that aren't, that we can do turns on. But he surfed well in that contest. Even when one of his like buddies or caddies or whoever that watches his boards put the fins in the wrong holes in his backup board, and he surfed like the last couple waves of one of his heats, like a side fin in the middle or the back fin in the side. So you got to give it up to Felipe. It's a bummer because I think he was rated 6th or something like that. But again, I like the WSL because I want surfers to make money and have careers and be able to surf, and I like to watch their clips and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's hard to get too upset. And in that, my point that I was going to make earlier that I forgot to about at the beginning of mentioning this whole contest stuff is that fantasy surfer is impossible. I refuse to participate in it this year. Yeah, last year I was too lazy and didn't sign up my friends' ones that they do. But this year, everybody's good. Nobody sucks. Like, it really, like a couple of years ago, it's like, oh, fuck, some of the guys suck. Like, I'm not going to watch that fucking heat. It sucks, especially early on or whatever. Like, guys are just terrible. Now, everybody has a decent at the minimum style, like a decent style. Even the ugly Brazilians, there's no real flappy, gross people. Gabriel kind of has a poo stance and waves his arm around sometimes, but he does amazing shit. And he's growing up and smoothing out his style. And this is coming from a person that surfs terribly. So don't think that I'm like, I'm just Gabriel Medina could actually, he's make his style. Like, fucking don't listen to me. But I'm just saying this is a know nothing armchair quarterback observer. Nobody sucks anymore. Everybody surfs well. You can't shit on anybody surfing basically in the top, 30, whatever it is now. And so it all comes down to like whoever gets the best waves, which is luck, and who doesn't make any dumb mistakes, which most of the surfers on tour aren't exactly the most brain geniusy personages, people. I can't even say the sentence, so who am I to make fun of dumb people? But they're not the smartest guys in the world, okay? So, like, it really just comes down to luck and who catches the waves and who doesn't get hurt. So, I think Fantasy Surfer is very difficult. So, if you're doing well at Fantasy Surfer or you know someone who is, hats off to you and or them, because it's a difficult call this year. And I got my buddy Lennon, who works for a surf company, who's all stoked because he's winning his Fantasy Surfer this year and won the last contest. So good on him. Lyndon is a good guy. And now, without further ado, this is our interview with Christian Dittrich. He is a guy from Sweden. He used to work at IKEA, the company that makes the cell phones. And I think they might have invented the video game Snake for cell phones. I'm just saying, most Nokias had it back in the day. So if they invented that game, I played a fuck ton of that in like the early 2000s. So thank you, Nokia. But we interviewed him because his company, SurfEars, makes these really cool surfing earplugs that you can hear through. They have team riders like Tom Carroll, and they just signed a new guy from Santa Cruz, a big wave guy. I was just on their Facebook page. But we'll have links to their products and their Facebook page on the show notes for this show and on our website. But this is an interview with Christian Dittrich. We did it over Skype, and he was in Sweden, so the sound's pretty good. I think it's pretty good for a Skype call. So here it is. Here's our SurfEars founder/inventor, Christian Dittrich interview. We're here with Christian from SurfEars.com. How are you, Christian?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm just great. A bit tired. Been up since 4:30 this morning, but other than that, all good.
Why were you up so early?
I don't know. It's not really getting dark these days in Sweden. It's summer and it's bright all day, all night almost. So it's hard to sleep.
So you guys are so far north that it only gets kind of like twilight. It never gets absolute darkness.
Almost. I mean, we're in the southern part of Sweden, so it's not that bad as in the north. In the north, it doesn't get dark right now, so it's always bright.
So you could surf 24 hours a day if there was surf up in the northern part. So
yeah, and there is surf in the northern part. So, for example, in Norway, in the northern parts, in Lofoten, which is a pretty good surfing place, you can surf all hours of the day right now.
Okay, so Sweden's right just east of Norway, and Norway has a west-facing coast when Sweden just kind of faces the east of the Baltic Sea, right?
We have mostly east-facing, but we also have a smaller stretch of coast to the south and also to the west. So we actually have surf on all those coasts. Not as regularly as California, but there is pretty okay surf in Sweden as well.
So was it beach break mostly, or what do you guys have?
It's a mix. It's always wind-generated swell, so that's the thing. So you always need to find some wind-protected place. So usually we find, the beach around a point or the beach around some rock. So you have all kinds of breaks, but mainly it's beach breaks or like stone reef.
Okay, like slabby. Do you ever get offshore winds? Can you find a place where the swell is wrapping around so you can actually utilize that wind?
Yeah, for sure. You can do that.
And then you said you drive across to, like, Norway is basically like your next door neighbor, so you can drive across to Norway and surf there pretty easy?
You can. I'm in the very south of Sweden, and it's a pretty stretched country, so for me, it will be quite a drive, but if you live in Gothenburg, for example, you can for sure drive to surfable places in Norway. For us, I'm living in the southern part, close to a city called Malmö, and there we have within 1 hour's reach, I can reach 3-4 different pretty good spots, and I actually live just by one of them, so I can actually walk down to one of the most consistent spots down here. That's good.
Man, that's pretty good. It's so strange to think with the position where Sweden is so far up, in Northern Europe, and kind of how you guys are like, you have an ocean, but like not the, a giant ocean like the Atlantic feeding you swell, that you guys take advantage of the wind swell. That's pretty smart.
Yeah, I mean, but it's actually amazing how good it can get on only wind swell. I think parts of the sea is fairly deep, so the waves do build up quite fast, and they do hit sort of a steep shelf, so they can actually become quite good quality and quite good shape. The big difference is that you don't have the ground swell, so you don't have the large periods, so it's quite short periods on the swells, but it's still good. It's a good day here is really fun. It's not like surfing California, but it's really it's sufficient to keep the hunger away.
What's the average wave height throughout the year? And do you get waves throughout the year, or is there seasons, or how's that work?
It's really depending on the wind. So there's more wind in the autumn and winter. So usually autumn and winters are the time to surf. We do have some storms in the summer as well, and eventually in the springs, but it's usually autumn and winters, which is the surf season, I'd say.
Okay.
Which also means it's fairly cold.
Yeah, we're gonna get to the cold, because I haven't even. Yeah, that's why we're talking to you today.
Yeah, exactly.
How big is it? Get like 3 to 4 foot, 5 to 6? How big can it get, and where it's still surfable and good, and not just storm?
So I say it's unusual to get much more than head high.
Okay.
You can find it. But it's not very common. So usually like waist to shoulder maybe, and then eventual days with head high. But that's what it gets. It doesn't get much bigger than that usually.
Yeah, but it probably
Norway
gets
can get bigger though. Norway can get
really?
bigger because they have the North Sea out straight out, so they can get much bigger swells than that.
Okay, so now in the winter when the wind is good, how cold is it? What's the air temp and what's the water temp?
Yeah, so it's pretty cold. So I mean, we surf all year round, but we wear hooded wetsuits, and gloves
booties
and boots,
and lobster claws and everything.
Yeah, exactly. So it's full on protection. In Celsius, like it's usually in winter, if there's a breaking point. If you go out in the water where it's below 5 degrees Celsius, it feels really cold because the wind chill factor becomes so obvious. If it's above 5, it's usually quite okay.
Okay, so 5 degrees Celsius is 41 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So if it's 41 degrees, it's pretty good. It's pretty like a jacuzzi. But 39, that's when you start to put up the red flags. Like, hey, things might start falling off my body.
Yeah, sort of.
That must be. Did you learn to surf in Sweden? Because that must take a lot of commitment to be a beginner. Because you barely stand up and you're constantly flopping around in the water, just freezing to death.
So actually, I think many people in Sweden who surf actually learn surfing abroad somewhere else.
Yes.
I mean, that could be Portugal or France or California or Australia. Swedish people travel quite a lot, so they usually pick up surfing somewhere and then bring home board and realize that you can actually surf in Sweden. So they continue. And there are people learning here, but I think the vast majority has actually learned to surf abroad, I'd say.
I would say on pretty much every surf trip I've ever been on, whether it's Puerto Escondido or New Zealand or Australia, and even in Hawaii, there's always like one Swedish guy who has like 2 or 3 boards and is just traveling by himself, like backpacking with and you're like, we're here for 2 weeks, and you ask him, he's like, oh, I'm traveling for a couple of years, and he's just like on a mission.
Yeah, I mean it's common among Swedes to take, especially after either after high school before college, take a year off, or during college, take a year off and travel. And you usually do the Asian tour, like you go to Indonesia and Vietnam and Australia and these countries, and everybody tries to surf there. So that's where people pick up surfing a lot.
And you get hooked, and then you come home and you have to fix your ocean. That's just crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're talking to you today because you have a company called SurfEars.com. It's called SurfEars. They're earplugs for surfing, basically, where you can still hear. And we wanted to talk about that, like how you came up with it, because the story on the website says you got a lot of ear infections. So how was the genesis of that, and what's up with your terrible ears, or is it your freezing ocean, or what?
Yeah, so it's a combination of a lot of stuff. But basically, I mean, I've been in the water for 25 years here. I've been doing different sports. I've been windsurfing for a long time and kiteboarding for a long time and surfing. I started surfing at the age of 14, and I started at the age of 17 actually in Biarritz, France, and then I've continued. I'm 39 now. And I was windsurfing a few years before that. So I've been a fisher in cold water. Not super careful about wearing hood, maybe even in the winter sometimes. So I was exposed to a lot of cold water. And it's sort of a medical fact that if you expose yourself to water temperatures, I think it's below about 17 degrees Celsius, the ear protects itself by growing extra bone in the ear canal. So you actually get additional bone growth for safety, for the ear to protect itself from the bad feeling of having really cold water coming
so below
into your ear.
62 degrees Fahrenheit for people, like the bone actually starts growing to like protect itself, but it also closes up the ear canal.
Exactly. And then what happens is if you do that long enough and the bone grows far enough, you get such a small opening in your ear canal that whatever gets in there doesn't get out. So if you go on a surf trip and get some stuff in there, some sand and some water and bacteria, it sits in there and it gross, you get these really bad ear infections. And that
your ear becomes a petri dish, basically, like for a science experiment to grow inside your head.
Exactly. I guess that's why, you see a lot of surfers trying to get the water out of their ears without actually succeeding. And that's probably because they have the start of what you call surfer's ear, which is this bone growth or exostosis. And it's fairly common among surfers. It's fairly common also among cold water swimmers. So it's really like a worldwide phenomenon.
And
that
to take
happens.
care of this, if you have it and it gets bad enough, you actually have to get a surgery where they drill the bone in your ears out.
Yeah.
And you're out of the water for a super long time. I know a buddy of mine had it last year, and I think he was out for 3 months. But some doctors will recommend up to 6 months out of no surfing at all.
Yeah,
which
no, that's
is
true.
crazy.
I also have a few friends who've done it, and for me, sort of the idea of why surfers came up was basically because I was also in the stage where I needed to do that operation, or I was examining my ears, and they said that you have really bad case of exostosis, and you can have the operation if you want to. In Sweden, we're lucky because it's basically free medical care, so I can do it if I want to without actually. It doesn't cost me a lot of money, but it's I just want to push that as far away in the future as I can.
It's painful, takes a long time, and it, according to what I've heard from friends that have had this, the bone grows back faster after you get it drilled down. Like it actually comes back faster if you don't wear earplugs. So you're making yourself open for more. So I'm older. I'm 41, so I looked into this too because I kind of. As I got older, I'm like, hey, I'm getting more water in my ears. So I've been wearing earplugs for the last year and a half because all my friends, when we were like in our teens that are too cool to wear them, now it feels like I see everybody wearing them. It used to be like 40-year-old guys. Now I see like 30, 20-year-old guys wearing them because I think people know that that's coming if you surf a lot and nobody wants to get that surgery. Just like you didn't want the surgery so bad that you started a company with a product just to avoid it. I'm not calling you a baby, but I'm saying you're postponing the scary surgery so bad that you started this really cool company.
Pretty much. So I had been wearing earplugs for quite some time because I noticed there was something going on in my ears, and I started wearing all kinds of plugs, and especially the silicone ones where you just, the formable silicone, which you put in, or wax plugs. And I just felt, you just totally lost the feeling, and I couldn't talk to anyone on the water. At least I couldn't hear what they said to me. And it was just horrible. The experience was just so bad. So I just figured that, there has to be a better way. And the breaking point was actually a holiday in Morocco. I was there with my girlfriend, and I got this really bad infection, and one of my, I think it was my left ear first, closed out completely. So I couldn't hear a thing for like 3 days, and I sort of had to stay out of the water most of the time. And the day it got better, my right ear did the same thing. So I was blocked on that ear for 3 days. Luckily, it was like a transition period, so I could hear on one ear at the time. But that was really like a breaking point. I was really thinking that, okay, I need to do something about it, or I need to stop surfing. And stopping surfing was not really an option. So that's where I really started thinking about, okay, what can we do to make it better for surfers around the world? And at the time, I was working at, I think I still was working at Nokia when I've been working at Nokia for quite some time developing mobile phones. And there I came in contact sort of with a type of acoustic membrane, and that's being used in phones for quite some time. That was developed for specifically, letting sound through from a speaker, for example, while protecting the speaker from dust and water. So I figured, what about using that type of material in an earplug? And I think it was a while later, Nokia closed down in Copenhagen where I worked. So I started this company, a consulting firm, together with some old colleagues of mine. And we started this side project, which was sort of the foundation for SurfEars, where we started prototyping. We had a 3D printer. We were mechanical engineers selling, design services to others. But so we had all these facilities to prototype, and we started making a lot of tests and prototypes, and just sketching something up, building it, putting it in our ears, and going out surfing.
You're human guinea pig for the experiment.
Yeah, for sure. For 2 years or so, we did this. So we did hundreds of prototypes. It was a lot, and loads of different concepts, and we gave them to friends who were going traveling and testing it out. And after some time, we felt that we really had something that we felt worked good enough to actually pursue. So that's where we figured that, okay, so let's try to do something with this. We decided to put it on Kickstarter.
Okay.
And if we got some traction there, we said that, okay, then we'll do it. And we actually got quite some response. I mean, Kickstarter is maybe not the ideal platform for surf products
because it's an all or nothing. It's like that's the worst. If you get like 98% of the money and you don't get 100, you don't get to
that
keep
as well.
it.
Plus, I don't know. I mean, it's more of a tech community surrounding.
People want a barbecue MP3 player that's also a hoverboard. They want this really sexy stuff that's like that underwater breathing apparatus, like turn seawater to oxygen. But if you look at the math, it really doesn't work, and it would blow your face off. that's Kickstarter's like, yeah, we're gonna do that.
That's
but like,
a typical.
This thing that's gonna keep you from this boring surgery.
We had to sort of pull the surfers into Kickstarter, but once they noticed, they really liked it. So we sold it off to sort of finance some of the production costs for it. So we went on and actually, I mean, we funded the rest ourselves. And then the good thing was that Kickstarter was sort of a exposure to a lot of people around the world. So distributors and retailers, they saw us and they called us and said, hey, this is a good product, we want to sell it. So we got more and more requests like that. We started some smaller collaborations with some distributors in UK and New Zealand. But then we got in touch with the company called Creatures of Leisure, the Australian surf accessory brand, and they were super keen on this. And eventually they became our global distributor for the product. So they're the ones who make sure it's out there in all the stores. And right now we're in about 35 or so countries in more than 1,000 stores.
Wow. Plus online.
So online is also, I mean, we're definitely selling worldwide to whatever country wants to buy, but Creatures makes sure that we're really, out there in the stores as well. So I think we managed in a fairly short time to get good exposure. So that's been a great help and a great journey so far together with them, for sure.
So do you feel like your ears are safe now? You maybe get another 5 or 10 years out of this before you have to finally bite the bullet?
Actually, I do, because I haven't had a problem since I started wearing earplugs, constantly while surfing. So I really feel that, okay, I think my surface here hasn't really gone, it hasn't reversed.
Yeah.
But it hasn't gone worse either. So
you're not selling a product with nano robots that actually repair your ears. They just kind of keep it at an even pH 7.
Exactly.
Okay.
But it's really, I mean, it's been, for me, I've been wearing the plugs for 3 years. I haven't had an ear infection in 3 years. That's been really good.
Yeah. So last week, one of your partners sent us a batch, because we're doing a giveaway. When this episode comes out, we'll do a giveaway on the Surfing Podcast, Instagram and Facebook and online and all that. But he gave me a pair to try out, and I've been wearing them the last week, and they're super awesome. They work great. I wore them. Cool. Last week it was flat, so I wore them for like 3 days in a row in like 1 foot waves, but I made sure to swim around and go down the bottom and mess around. But the last couple waves in California, we've had swell. It's been a little over, like a foot overhead in the sets. And I tried get caught inside a couple times to make sure it worked a little bit. And they stayed in great. And I didn't even wear the leash. I just used the little thing. I like the thing that hooks inside the inner ear. I think that's just as secure as the earplugs that go way farther into your ear. And that's also what I liked about them, is they don't, they go in your ear snug, but I've worn every kind of earplug, that they make, and some of those you're supposed to jam as far into your head as you can. And that's the most uncomfortable thing, because after an hour, your eardrum's throbbing, can't hear anything, and they're not any more watertight than any other ones. So,
no.
So yeah, I think you got a great thing. And you can hear people, which is a good and bad thing. Because sometimes I like to wear earplugs, because when it's crowded, then I just don't have to listen to other people. I can kind of pretend like I don't hear them. But you actually made a really cool thing that works. And it's strange that, you three guys came together as like guys who were working for a cell phone company, and then just said, hey, let's apply this to surfing.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think it was because, two of us were surfers. So it was on our radar, sort of what happens in the surfing world, and it was sort of natural to work with something that was relevant for us. But no, it's cool to hear that you like the product, and I also think, we're on something. It's the one you have is the second version of our product. The first one was very similar. It was also. It had the wing you're talking about, which sort of fixes it in the outer ear. It didn't have the leash, which we have put on now, because we figured from the beginning that you wanted maximum freedom of movement, so you didn't want to leash to it. But we figured that people pay quite a lot of money for this, and if they lose it, they're not so happy. So there was some people who maybe they didn't test out the right sizes, and they went in the water a little bit too fast, and they happened to lose a plug, and you're quite bummed if you paid $50-$60 for it.
Yeah.
So we figured if we put a leash on it, as standard option. You can choose to remove it, but then it's at your choice, basically. So since then, actually, we haven't had any complaints on people using plugs anymore.
Any angry emails, you just send them a picture of like the free leash that came with it. And you're like, listen, buddy, you tuck this into the neck of your wetsuit, no problem. If you're Mr. Brave Big Wave Surfer, that's too bad.
The other good thing about the leash is actually you keep track of the plugs, because after some time, if you walk up from the water, I usually put them in my wetsuit, and when I change, they just fly away in the park. I don't listen. So now with the leash, I just hang them around the neck, and they stay in place. So that's a good thing.
I would say, I was thinking about this before we had you on the interviewed you. Like, there's guys that we're thinking about having like big wave coaches on about, teaching breathing techniques and stuff like that. But I honestly think having you on the show today is more important to like a greater number of surfers' safety and well-being than a big wave surfer coach, because like 5% of guys that surf really want to surf waves over 10 or 15 feet or big waves, but everybody surfs when it's cold and it's windy and it's junky and can have this ear problem. So literally you're important to 99.9% of the surfers in the world, except guys that only surf where it's tropical and never when it's windy. So that's I gotta
cool to hear. That's great.
And you're from Sweden, the perfect place to be the guinea pig for this, because it's a beautiful country. I went there after college and visited. I didn't surf there, but it seems god awful cold. It just seems it seems like Game of Thrones, White Walker, North of the Wall kind of stuff. So the fact that you're surfing and kiteboarding is just amazing right there.
Yeah, I know it's fun, and it's you would be amazed. I mean, I'm not joking that if you got surfing in January on a good day, there's 30 people in the water easily.
Yeah.
And January is like that's when it's like 4 degrees Celsius or below. So it's really there's a committed surfing community here for sure. It's pretty surprising for many people coming here.
Most people don't think of Sweden. No offense, most people don't think of Sweden as a hotbed of surfing
exactly.
culture, but you guys are turning that around. That's pretty cool. What in the coming like 6 months, a year? What are the plans you guys have for the plug? Just keep getting them in the stores of creatures and.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're working out. We're doing a lot of the online business. We're trying to optimize that, see how we can. It's also for us. It's also a journey on. I mean, we're engineers from BN, so we've been really good at making products. Now we also need to sell them, which is a different thing. But I mean, I think we've gotten off to a good start, and we're learning a lot on what you can do with the different social platforms, and there's a lot of smart marketing techniques out there. So that's one thing we're working on. But also on the awareness building side, like really getting out there and make sure people know about why you should wear earplugs, because I think it's just a bad thing to end up where I am, like having both ears super bad condition and having to go through the surgery eventually. You can really prevent that by wearing plugs. I mean, any plugs, not just ours, but any plugs. If you just wear them, it helps you.
As a preemptive measure, so you don't get to the point where your ear's almost closed up.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, quick question, because you guys are engineers and you're an engineer, what do you think about all the wave pool stuff going on this year?
I personally think it's super cool. I like the idea. I still would prefer to surf in the ocean, I guess, because I really like the nature experience of being out there with nature. But I think it's super cool, and definitely I would want to test it. I haven't tried it yet. I've planned to try to go to Snowdonia because it's not too far away. Haven't gotten there yet, but definitely on the map for the next year.
Since you're
so.
Actually in Europe, it's a lot easier surf trip than someone in California to go. How involved is it? Do you have to make a reservation in advance or anything like that? Have you looked into it?
Yeah, we did look it up, and you have to be sort of guaranteed a slot to surf. You have to sort of book it in advance, and you can actually camp out there as well. So you probably book to stay for a couple of days, and I think you can rent like an hour, and then you surf with X amount of people, and you're sort of guaranteed a certain amount of waves if you catch them. So you would be pretty stressed out if you missed a wave, I guess. But no, it seems like a cool concept. And if you count like. I'm an engineer, you can hear that now, but if you count the price per wave, compare that to a surf trip to somewhere with a flight ticket and accommodation and everything, it's actually not that bad what they charge. I think it's a viable concept for catching more waves.
Yeah, especially if you go to like the Menawise or something like that. If you do the math on like, because from California, it's a 24-hour plane trip to Indo and then 12 hours overnight on the boat. And then you're on a boat for a week and it's thousands of dollars. But I just feel like that once they get that thing, like the Slater pool or Snowdonia or whoever, or Weber's pool, once they get it locked down, they can throw it anywhere inland where the land's cheap. And in California or wherever, just put it down the street from like a mall and a strip club, and then guys will book that for a week for their bachelor party, because they'll just be guys are scumbags. Sure. At least American guys are. They just want to surf and drink and look at girls. That's you got right there. You got the surfers strip club bachelor pad party, and without going to Mexico where you get stabbed and robbed and killed to death if you mess around and don't pay attention.
No, I think it's a good concept. It's going to catch on for sure.
Well, dude, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show. I think you guys got a great product, and I think it's super cool. And I hope this show helps spread the word about it. And you guys' website, the easiest place is surfears.com for all the info.
That's right.
And it's got the video, and it's got Surfer Tom Carroll talking about it and all that stuff. So it's really neat. I've tried them. I think they're a great. I would say invention, because most of the other plugs are just jam your quiet, and you guys actually invented a way to kind of where you can hear a little bit while you surf, which helps not getting run over by people, or you can sell help. I'm freezing to death in Sweden. Please throw me a latte or safety ring.
Exactly. That's cool. Thanks a lot for having me on the show.
All right, man. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you again soon.
Okay. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
All right.
All right. Thank you to Christian for being on the show and for donating the 3 pairs of the earplugs that we are giving away. Remember to go to our website and sign up for our email list and like us on Facebook, and we'll announce the 3 winners for the 3 pairs of earplugs on Monday, June 5th on our Facebook page. If you noticed during the interview, that interview was actually recorded last summer, I believe during the Vans Pro. The reason that it sat for over half a year on my computer is that I recorded it, and then the computer that I was using to record it on died, and I couldn't get access to the hard drives or to get it off. And then that same week, the surfing podcast website was hacked by apparently Turkish and or Russian hackers. Nothing to do with the elections, by the way, just a separate incident, obviously. But the website was all messed up. So the 3 episodes we had done, which was an interview with Chucky Rigano, and then Cordell Miller, and then Jeff Deffenbaugh, who are all 3 friends of mine that I was like, be the first few guests on my show. Those went great. And then I interviewed the Skype thing with Christian. That the computer dies. Then the website gets hacked. Then I had 3 interviews lined up with a couple pro surfers that live around town and a third person in the industry. All 3 flaked out in a row, and it was the perfect storm of a 3-week period where a month, more than a month, like a 5-week period where everything was just going wrong. And I'm like, fuck this. I'd rather surf and just do bullshit than try and do this goddamn podcast just with a broken computer and everybody's flaking out and freaking hackers. But then I finally got off my ass the last few weeks and went in and fixed the website, scrubbed our WordPress, and installed WordFence, which is a plugin that blocks bullshit from happening on your website. And we're back up and running. So we're doing the giveaway. I held on to the earplugs. I didn't sell them on eBay because I'm not a dick. So we really do have this SurfEars 2.0 earplugs, 3 sets. We had 4, but I wore them, and actually they work great. You can't hear through them. They're very comfortable. They come with 3 different size ear hole, interchangeable things. I liked the smalls were the most comfortable, but I thought the mediums gave a better seal. But they were really good. And last summer I had them for about 3 weeks, and about 2 weeks after I interviewed Christian, I lost them during a big south swell. I duck diving away, but I think we joked during the interview about them making a little strap thing you could add on. It comes with them, like a little holder, I don't know, the safety strap or whatever, and that most people don't wear them, and I didn't wear them, and I lost the earplugs. And like I said, they retail for $50 to $90, so I lost a minimum $50 thing in the ocean because I'm stupid and lazy. So when you win these things, don't be stupid and lazy. That's this episode. One thing I really like that I saw online lately, a couple weeks ago. Let me look at the date. Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks ago, this guy that works for Surfline. I don't know if he's a writer or if he actually works as a surf, what he does up there, but he writes articles for him sometimes. So I know he's a writer, probably among other things. This guy, Dashel Pearson, did this great thing because they have that Hurley surf coach program for the kids here in Southern California, and they'll do it online. You can upload a video to YouTube and then send them the link, and then they'll critique it, which just sounds fucking brutal because it's just some guy some photo pro guy on his off day at his home just sitting there just going, oh, look at this fucking Barney, oh god, and the really bad clips he probably forwards to his friends and shit, and and like group text and whatever. But this guy Daschle went and he did the program like where they had Brett Simpson, who's a pro surfer from Huntington. Surfline's based in Huntington Beach as well. They had him meet up and he coached him a couple times with all the coaching techniques used for the Hurley school, and watch footage of him. And he worked on doing better turns and having better flow and all this kind of stuff. But I thought it was awesome because I don't know about you, but I like the surfline.com. I don't know where you live or where you surf. I surf mostly in Southern California. So there's most of the places I surf, like Huntington Pier and stuff, have the Surfline cams hooked up. And I will sometimes go to the Cam Rewind and watch a wave or look for my waves on there. Not all the time, because I know the guys that do it religiously and like they save their clips and upload them on Instagram and shit like that, that's mostly dudes that surf a lot better than me. One, and two, dudes that are just way more into they're like way more into surfing than that aspect of surfing, like hyper, I like to try hard on waves is to my level, which is not very good, but I try my best. I'm not riding like some shitty Hayden shapes and just going straight. I'm trying to do turns and ride, actual shortboards that are meant to do, maneuvers. But at the same time, like I'm a mediocre surfer at best, and I'm old and my body's shitty and I'm crappy. So, and I'm tired all the time because my 3-year-old wakes up at 5 o'clock every morning and hits me in the head with a lightsaber. So I'm not the best. I'm not good at surf. I'm as best as I can be at surfing from growing up in a surf community. But like, at the same time, I'm very low on the pole in any talent, hierarchy. But then I have friends that are like in their 30s, some are in their 40s, who surf pretty good. I mean, they surf good for a guy that's their age, and they were good probably in their 20s, whatever. Maybe doing some laybacks and maybe an air once in a while, and straight air. Maybe a couple of them can do an air reverse on a real good day. Not a high landing percentage, but they can do them. But there are guys that are like in their 30s and 40s that are not professional surfers that have like stickers on their surfboards. And if you work at a surf company, I guess that's kind of like a cool job pride thing. Like, oh, I work at this surf company, or I work at this wetsuit company, or I work at the sunglass company. So if you throw a sticker on your board, but like guys that have like off-brand like sunglass and off-brand traction pad and off-brand like surf like shop stickers in their boards for no fucking reason, and they're just surfing the pier or Golden West. I don't know. Like, again, these guys surf better than me, but that always creeps me the fuck out. I always like look at that and it's like, come on, man. But that being said, I hate seeing myself in the Surfline cam, because in my head I'm like, oh, I had a pretty good session. I got some good waves. I come on, my wife was like, how are the waves? I'm like, oh, it's pretty good. I thought surfing pretty good. And then like that day, the Cam Rewind usually takes about, I don't know how many. Like it doesn't, like if you go surf that afternoon, you can't watch it that night. Usually you have to wait till like the next morning, the next afternoon, and remember to look up your waves and what time you surfed. But I'll always like remember a wave and like, oh, I was around like 3:30. I'll remember tomorrow, and then I'll look up that wave, and I swear to God, I think I'm surfing pretty good. I think I'm surfing like pretty decent, like not embarrassing. And then I watch the wave, and if the camera, my luck is always the best wave I get. Literally, I take off, and as I'm bottom turning, the camera turns and pans like down the beach, and there's nothing, and then it pans back as I'm kicking out or falling on the closeout section. So that's my luck. But then the waves that do get caught, it's just like, oh God, it's painful. It's just like what I thought I was surfing like is not, I would say, even 75% of what I thought. I think I'm ripping, and I see the footage, and I just come off to myself as a crippled, like scarecrow with Parkinson's that also kind of gestures way too flamboyantly with his arms and hands. Like I don't also just standing up too straight or bent over too hard. Like just so every bad thing you can do in surfing is basically how I surf, especially when I get the waves that get caught in video, and probably all the other times too. But like, it's a rough sesh. So this guy Daschle that did this is awesome. Hats off to him. I really want to try and get in contact with him through email or social media or something the next couple weeks, and have him as a phone and guest in the show. Surfline's located like literally. I live in Huntington, and it's downtown. It's in downtown on Main Street, but like less than a mile from my house. So I don't know. It's kind of creepy to like interview people I don't know. I feel like someone's like, hey, you want to meet up at like my house or coffee shop? I interview you, but I can do Skype interviews. So I would love to interview Daschle. So Daschle, if you're listening, I will be, and I hope I'm saying your name right, I will be in contact with you in some form of social media. I thought the thing you did was super cool, and I watched the videos and I read your articles, and I thought they were really neat. So if you get a chance, check them out. I'll put links to them in the show notes for this episode. And again, in closing, we're giving away 3 pairs of SurfEars earplugs, the earplugs you can hear through. specially designed by scientists or a guy that was real fucking smart that also surfs in Sweden. Just go to our website, thesurfingpodcast.com, like us on Facebook, subscribe or email us. While you're there, please click on the subscribe on iTunes as well, and go on iTunes, leave us a 5-star and a positive review if you'd be so kind. I don't know. It helps other people find the podcast, I believe. I don't know how the iTunes algorithm works really, but it probably does. But yeah, thanks for listening. My name has been Dan Bialik. If you have any questions or comments, hit us up on the Facebook, Instagram, or I think we have Instagram. How about it? Hit us up on our website, our Facebook, or our Twitter, because those are things I get alerts for if we get a message. And if you have anyone that you think would be a good guest on the show, or a product we should discuss, or think that I'm a dickhead, or think that I'm the coolest guy alive, fuck man, send those comments. That's what I need. But thanks for listening to the Surfing Podcast. We'll talk to you again soon.